So, yeah, breaking news. We're going to get flight in a little bit. So exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and put a video together because I'm bored. And there's a couple of things that we need to address, which I'm going to highlight throughout the video. This is going to be associated to a new section in the website that I put together. Also in conjunction with our log review, I'm going to do one for heroic and I'm going to do one for also normal, since we're going to be doing some normal tonight. So that way we can get ourselves in a position where we're starting to fix some of the areas where we have issues in. Okay. Now, overall, let's go ahead and start with some awesome news, right? We're 21st on the realm, which is outstanding. We went up 14 ranks. I believe I think we were around 35 up to that point at 12 of 13 normal. Now that we're 513 heroic, and we clearly show that we could probably get a couple more bosses. I wouldn't be surprised if we could get up to probably 10 bosses, to be honest, if not more, just based on execution in heroic at this point. So we're making some great headway towards where we want to get to. Now we're going to go ahead and focus on the areas where we can go ahead and start improving. So that way we have not only a method on how we're doing it, also that reason, which is, of course, to get a higher ranking, all right, and try to put ourselves in a position to get to Mythic. So under the forums now, you'll see down here is class discussion for raids. It says logs breakdown for players. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at logs every single night in the mornings usually. So when I go and I do that, okay, when I start to see a consistent trend, which is like, for example, I don't care if an individual's attendance is once a week to 4 times a week. If I see a consistent trend where their performance is in the single-digit percentile brackets instead of the 35% minimum that we're trying to shoot for consistently, if not higher, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a forum thread here. Now, Saki and Tamel have been great, and they both have asked me, what can they do? So what I wanted to do was take a step to see what I can adjust, so that way they can take the opportunity to take a peek at it and then start working on it from there forward, okay? So each one of them is going to have a log review, so we'll take a look at Tamel's first. When you click on it, I'm going to have a link for a comparable log. Now, I'll show you how to do that in just a little bit so that way you can understand the data that I put together, but it's all referenced within the last week, and it's all referenced within a few spots of your item level. I know that, for example, set bonuses and rings and all that other things can make impact. I don't care, okay? It's about execution of a specific tactic in a certain way throughout the fight that dictates success. It really does. If you forget, for example, to hit a cooldown that's going to give you an 8% or 10% or 20% bonus to what you're doing, and then you forget to do it, every second after that point that you're not doing it, it just snowballs itself into a lower performance overall, okay? So what we really want to do when we look at these logs more than anything is just to get under the understanding of what you need to do on a consistent basis while under duress, be able to create yourself a battle plan and then start applying it forward. So if I put your name here in the log review section, you're going to click on the link, do a review, and then I want you to comment below so it'll generate some traffic to the website here of what you're going to do to make adjustments. Now, if I don't see consistent use of this from players, for example, I'm just going to put you on standby until you give me a response saying, okay, this is how I'm going to fix my gameplay, which means that you're now at this point taking a step towards accountability, which is part of the principles of our raid guild, okay? Once that promise has been made by you putting this here and then I see you starting to do it, there should be a natural growth in how you perform, okay? If there isn't, then we're just going to have another discussion, but that'll be for down the road, okay? Now, looking at each one of these as they come through, what I'm typically doing, I'm going to go ahead and just look at, for example, Hellfire Assault. We have the same issues here where we're starting to see people that are getting closer in their bracket percentages, but we have several that are below. Okay, so what we need to do is all these individuals, make sure you're checking your logs, and if you see this here, you need to do a comparison for yourself. If you don't do a comparison within a time frame of like by next week, for example, and I don't see an improvement, for example, in execution, we need to start sitting there and figuring out what you're doing wrong so that way we can fix it. If not, then I'm just going to have to put you in standby, okay? So make sure that you're taking a look at it. Overall, Hellfire Assault, we kind of split it 50-50, which is, I get it. It's our first night of doing it, but at the same point, we should have better numbers overall. And if we want to carry into Mythic, that's what we're going to have to see. But when you come to Iron Reaver, now we did have multiple wipes on Iron Reaver because we were just kind of working out the positions and whatnot, but we really had some issues here involving, for example, the overall output that we could have generated. We had a couple that really carried it. We had a couple that ended up dying. We had 11 deaths total. Okay, we ended up taking quite a bit of damage overall. And then we have several here that are in the gray, okay? We need to fix this. This is huge, okay? So make sure you're taking the time to take a look at it and fixing what you can so that way we can get the most growth that we can consistently. Because really this fight involving Iron Reaver is a guy standing. Like, we do this on normal and we're in super shape. Like, we're literally top 100 when it comes to execution on normal for our item level. That should transition into something much better than what we see here. So we need to make sure we tighten up on it and we get better execution overall. You look at Cormorant. Cormorant is kind of the same thing. We had a really good execution here by Zolt, for example. We had a couple of others. Like, percentage-wise, percentage is good. Like, if you can get into the 30, 40, 50 here, that means you're doing your job. In your comparison to most of the other individuals. And this will scale. Most people that are doing Heroic and Mythic, for example, have Ring. Their Legendary Ring. They have their 4-4 going, for example. They have a lot of pieces that are the pieces that you're supposed to be working for your best in slot list, for raid gear. So those are all things that we need to make sure that we're focusing on and functioning towards. Now you see here, for example, half the group again is in below 20%, below 35. So remember, 35 is a benchmark. If you're having an issue reaching that, then we need to find a way to get you to that point and do the best we can to go ahead and take care of it. So make sure you take a look. Now, this is the comparisons that I wanted to show between, for example, Saki and Toxophile. Now, this cat here, this is all data that I got that I'll show right here. When you click on compare, you can enter an individual's name specifically, right? So you, for example, take Saki. And then once you click Saki, then you set up all of these here. This one's always set at a month. I adjusted to 7 days because, see, then you can go to the armory. You can even reach out to this player if you want to. Trust me, there are so many people. What's the worst they're going to say? No, I don't want to talk to you. Welcome to World of Warcraft. Most of them, though, will gladly reach out. And all of the ones that I've taken the time to speak to have taken the time to reply back and have given me critical information that's helped me give me a battle plan to be able to push myself forward to be a better player overall. So then you hit search, which is right here. And then this gives all of the relative players top performance all the way down, okay? So there's 50 players, for example, in the last 7 days that did this fight, that put up logs, that are comparable with an eye level, which is 2, difference of amount of players that are in the size of the total raid. So then what you do is you just control click here, and that's going to give you a secondary window that's going to open up, as you see right here. And then you select this part of information right here. This is basically the ID code for the log, so you can enter it in. Come to compare reports right here. It says compare with URL. Enter it in, and then Control V. And boom, there you go. You got it entered in. No, you don't. That's incorrect. That's from an earlier one that I was copy pasting for the real attempt, right? 2 out of 3. Control V, there it is. Okay, so when you see this here, that means you got it. It's 16 digits, I think, total as far as numericals and letters as far as for the key binding. And then you hit OK. Once you hit OK, then it enters it in, so you have this here. Then you go back to analyze. And what that's going to do is allow you to come here. Now it's going to say summary, damage done. It's going to show everything. But you select each one here where it says each one of the classes. You see how they're highlighted. You have a blue and then you have a purple. So each one represents each one of the logs as they're entered. And then you put one in and then you put the other person's name in. And that gives you both. And then it gives you scalable all the way across. And it shows what they did as far as total damage, as far as how they put it out. It shows how many times they hit the target, how many times they casted, the rotations that they used. You can also see, for example, like this cat didn't use Barrage, where Saki did, for example, 16 times. Went with Power Shot, it seems, as their substitute. It shows the numericals of cast, total damage done. You come up here to cast also. You can see like the total amount of time. So, for example, they casted Steady Shot 86 times and Aim Shot 93 times compared to 53 and 71. So this is probably like a tier bonus rotation right here, for example. Chimera Shot, it was 30 times, so good job. Kill Shot, same thing. They didn't use anything as far as explosive trap or barrage, so it seems like a lot of their power is settling themselves here as far as doing that. You can come up here too to damage buffs, and then you compare your damage buffs here to the damage buffs here, and that'll give you an idea of what they're doing and how they're doing it. In conjunction with, you could clear all this up, you come to graph options, and you hide all the entries. And then at that point, then just click on the two of them. So you can see, for example, like when they casted Hero and how they applied it, for example, on this fight. And then how, for example, here, we applied it, but there's no scaling, for example, of what they're doing. A little bit late, too, for like Saki's here. See how it ramps up as Heroism starts, where this person ramped up and then they were able to get it right before, so I guess it carried a little bit further as far as total damage being done. So it gives you a way to be able to take a look at it and see your total uptime as far as when you used it. You can see a consumable is used one time when we want to shoot for two. So for example, when Heroism was cast again, he didn't click on his second one, or maybe he clicked on it a little late, and so he used it at the beginning of the fight and he didn't use the second one. Remember, when you're going ahead and you're using, for example, a potion, you want to use it on countdown around 3 or 2, and then coast through with it, and then use it again when you have everything on cooldown or at a specific time to maximize our total output. Like, for example, around conjunction of you getting a rapid fire and a heroism to go off kind of at the same time with your Dranic Agility potion, so that way you maximize the total damage that you're putting out. I did one for Tamel. I got to compare. Gorzane actually is one of the top performers in the last 7 days on the fight, so technically you get to see the two of them. This is Gorzane's damage here, and see how it spikes up. And then you got it here again, and then you see the rest of the time they're actually almost neck and neck based on their item level and how they're executing. So there's like clearly one thing that Gorzane's doing, and that's Blade Storm, where Tamel is not using Blade Storm. So there you go. There's your fix. Enjoy. You're welcome. Here for Smizzy. Smizzy overall was like a 2 to 5% on this fight, I think. Where Obamadin, that's awesome. Obamadin, as you can see, has clearly had multiple spikes throughout the entire fight. Where Smizzy's damage overall is sustained consistently with a couple of spikes here at Heroism. If you create a comparison between the two of them, Smizzy's using Final Verdict consistently, where Obamadin is using Hammer of Wrath consistently, and the difference is 2 million more damage. So there you go, Smizzy. That's the reason why you're not doing as much damage as the other players are. They look like they're using Templar's Verdict too at times when there's a chance to, but honestly, that's probably because they're attacking two targets. It procs, use it at that point. But the difference is clearly between those two, and that's how come your performance is lower than it needs to be. I hope overall this video was informative for everyone. I would like to see that I gave you pretty much the answers to what you need to fix. So if you could comment those that I did the logs for on the website, and then start applying it, and we'll continue to maintain it. As far as what I have to do on a consistent basis, I'll do a couple of these as I need to as I go forward. So remember to check out the website, and remember to do what you can to post. This isn't to come down on anybody. This is just to sit here and put our team in the best position to succeed, and that means everybody needs to be in a position to do so. My job as raid leader, as a person, is to help you do that. If I see, for example, weakness, I'm going to go after it and do what I can to sit there and put you in a position of strength so you can perform at a higher level as a player. I appreciate you taking the time watching the video. Again, thank you, and I hope this helps out. Have a blessed day, okay?